guys, this is Miss Morrison. I just wanted to go over some of these slides with you so that you can understand these ideas for the quiz in this module. So first of all, one term I want you to understand is colonization. And this should kind of be review. Colonization, when we talk about that, that means a group of people goes to a place and takes over the land and takes control. So we talked about people colonizing Africa and taking different countries in Africa. Now we're talking about it with the Americas and the Native Americans. So the Europeans sent explorers over and they took the land, they colonized the land. So this is kind of a picture of Christopher Columbus arriving in America and taking the land and saying the land is his now. So that's colonization. For indigenous, this is another important word, and that's just another word for native. That means that those were the people that were here first. So every country has indigenous or native people. This guy right here is an indigenous person from Canada. This is Canada's Prime Minister, and he's kind of standing there representing the group of indigenous people. These are examples of indigenous people from America. So these are Native Americans. That's kind of what we know them as, Native Americans. But it just means wherever you're from, it's the group of people that was here first. Okay, so when we're talking about the New World, a lot of the European explorers said that they got to the New World, or they discovered the New World. And all I really want you to know about that is that it was only new to them. They show up and they say, oh, we found this new world. But really, there were a bunch of Native Americans already living here on this land, and it wasn't new for them. Okay, so what we're going to go over here is now that the European people have come over and said, this is our land now, we're going to take this land, like we talked about colonizing. We're going to talk about some of the things that have happened that are effects of that. Some of the things that have happened after the people come over from Europe and say, this is our land now. So one of the big things that happens is that the Native American population, the number of Native American people that are alive, goes way, way, way down. So this is starting from 1492 when Columbus came over and European explorers were arriving. The population of Native American people living went from about 17 million people and just continued to drop and drop and drop and went all the way down to about 3 million people within a couple of hundred years. And then this is showing in the area that we know of as Mexico. So the Native American population that were living in what we now think of as Mexico, going down from millions and millions of people way, way, way down. So basically the main idea from this slide is just that the population went down, 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 and there's not as many Native American people alive today as there were before the explorers and colonizers got to America. Okay, here we see a GIF, so this image will repeat, and I'll explain it in just a second. But on this slide, we're going to look at the Native Americans losing their land. So on the last slide, we looked at Native Americans losing their lives and their population going down. In this slide, it shows us over time how the Native American people that were living here before controlled all of this land. So this is all the land they controlled, the green stuff. And then this shows us the years over time. As the years are passing, people are colonizing the land, taking the land from the Native Americans until they only have those tiny little green areas that are left to them. So they start out with the whole, basically the whole country, and they start getting, their land is taken until they just control these tiny little areas of green. So those tiny little areas that we saw that the Native American people are living in are called reservations. Okay, so if you've heard of like a Native American reservation, that just means that that's an area of land that was put aside, that the government said, hey, this is the land that Native Americans can live on. And so the whole purpose of this system was to keep the Native Americans off of the land that the Europeans wanted to take, that the colonizers wanted to take. So they said, okay, we'll give you this little piece of land and you leave us alone. You do you live your life on the reservation, and we'll take all the other land. Now, what I want you guys to know about reservations, these are some problems facing Native Americans. Life on reservations usually isn't that great. So this picture right here is a picture of someone's house on a reservation. And so we can see here that the house is made, the walls look like they're made of cardboard boxes. It looks like there's snow on the ground, so it's in a really cold place, but their walls are made of cardboard. They probably don't have heat inside. They're probably cold a lot of the time, because this house doesn't really protect them from very much. So up here we have, it tells us kind of how the houses like this one on reservations, what they have and what they don't have. So a lot of them don't have electricity. This is comparing what life is like on the reservation for Native Americans and what life is like for the rest of Americans, the average people living in America. So they don't have as much electricity. They don't have indoor plumbing. That means they don't have like running water and toilets and stuff inside. Sewage disposal, that means getting rid of all your like toilet stuff and stuff that goes down the drain. 18% of homes don't have that. So that's like 1 in 5 families living on the reservation that don't have that. They don't have complete kitchens, and then half of them don't have telephone service. So they can't talk on the phone in their home, about half of them. Okay, this is again comparing Native American people, right? Indians, basically, as we think of them, to other people in America. So this is other people in America, this is Native Americans. So unemployment rate is higher. That means they don't have as many jobs, okay? College graduation, Native Americans are lower. That means less Native American people are graduating from college. High school is the same way. Fewer Native American people are graduating from high school. And this is not because they're not as smart. It's because they don't have as much opportunity to get the education, to have the resources. Poverty level. Poverty is a fancy word for poor. So if you're living below poverty level, that means you don't have the things and the money you need to survive. And this shows that almost 25%, almost 1 in 4 Native Americans are living below poverty level. Really, really, really poor. Medium just means in the middle. What their income is, this is how much money they're making. So how much money they're making is lower than other Americans. And then inadequate means not good enough. Plumbing means like the pipes and the toilets and the sinks. So their pipes and toilets aren't good enough. The percentage of Native Americans that don't have good enough pipes and toilets are higher than everybody else. So these are some other problems facing them. Okay, so that was kind of how their education is and how their houses are on the reservations. This is kind of more about their health and those kind of problems that they're facing. So what I want to draw your attention here to is on this chart right here. This is looking at people who are thinking about suicide, people who are thinking about taking their own lives. This is in the United States. The AIAN means American Indian, okay? AI means American Indian, which means like Native American, okay? So we want to focus on this green because those are our Native Americans that we are talking about. And we see that the green either thinking about taking their lives or actually trying to end their lives, the green is the highest group. So that means Native Americans think about killing themselves or try to kill themselves more than any other group of people, more than Black people, Hispanic people, Asian, white. The Native Americans, the American Indians, are the highest. Over here we see 1 in every 6 American Indians has diabetes. So they have that higher risk of health problems. Down here it talks about violence, more than 4 in 5. So 80% of American Indian, Native American women say that people have been violent towards them. And then over here, lastly, we have non-elderly adults. That just means like young people, adults. And then these are health conditions. So we have asthma, diabetes, and heart disease. Those are some really common health conditions in America. And we're again looking at the American Indians. It's the green group again. And we see that again, every single one of these, the green group is the highest. That means that American Indians have the highest risk of asthma, the highest risk of diabetes, and the highest risk of heart disease out of all these groups of people. So once you've gone through everything else in this module, you are ready to go through Google Classroom after you watch my video and read the articles and everything. You go to Google Classroom and you take the quiz. But if any of this is still really confusing to you, let me know. We can email, we can talk on Zoom, however you want to do it. If you have questions, just let me know.